Hello, Bumpy McSquigums here, and it's time to shock the nation, shock the world, shock the universe. Or at least shock the system a little bit. Do something a little different, a little out of the norm from what I normally do. Hence, out of the normal. Anyway, moving past that. Basically, I want to do a check-in series, a semi-occasional series that I'm going to run, and basically we're going to take a look and showcase whatever it is that we've built, designed, created in Space Engineers. So, hopefully I'm able to do that on a semi-random occasional basis, and we'll do like showcase episode 1, 2, and then later down the road if you guys like it, or my schedule frees up, I will actually do a full LP of this game. And by full LP I mean I'll go as long as I can, or as long as people are interested in it, and we'll go on a survival mode and everything else. So, this isn't to tutorialize or teach you guys anything about the game, just to kind of show off the stuff that we've done, some of the cool things about this game, and really give Space Engineers a good, I don't know, a good review. This is kind of a review series and, you know, showcasing. So that's basically what we're going to be looking at here. The game is Space Engineers, as I've said, and it's by Keen Software House, and I'm going to load some of the worlds that we have created and hope that everything is okay. I'm going to show you our latest world, the one that we are playing right now. Now this is a slightly older save. Things have already changed since this last save, and I have been unable to get a hold of Splootch today in order to actually change it. Now every time you load into the game, you'll get these random phrases or sayings by something famous or something apparently fictional, like the 2077 Wikipedia. What do I know? And unfortunately I'm not going to have time to read that. Alright, so we've loaded into the game, and surprise! Here we are. Welcome to Space Engineers. We are in space, as I'm sure you can see, notice, or comprehend here at this moment. So let's kind of do a what you'll get when you start out as a Easy Start 1 level. So you get this giant blue ship, which, it's okay. It's nice to see something working and you kind of get an idea of what you can do. I'm not going to go over it really in depth because it's not something I created. It's something the devs give you with the Easy Start 1. Likewise, this ship is a combat ship that the devs give you in Easy Start 1. But I will show you what it looks like when you hop inside. But before I do that, you can do third-person view. Look around in third person. You can also rotate around any direction and see whatever you want to see. You can zoom in. So there we are. We're a astronaut in a spacesuit with jetpacks all around us. It's sweet, sweet, nice. It is pretty cool. Alright. I generally play the game 90% of the time in first-person mode, except when I'm flying ships, and even then sometimes I still use first-person mode. So, let's take a look at the ship. So there it is. It seems to be slightly dented there on that particular fender, but overall not too bad. It's in decent shape. And it's a pretty fast ship, as it does have a large engine in the back. So as you see, we get up to max speed, which is about 104.9, I want to say, 0.6. Some vehicles can get just slightly faster than that, but that's like max velocity. You can't go past that in speed. It just depends on how quickly you get to that speed. So you can kind of fly around and see, but I'm going to use this ship as basically a tour guide ship. And we'll take a look at the different things. So this is our current world, and I may end up streaming this game sometimes if you guys are interested in me streaming. So that's something you can look forward to seeing and or doing. And this will probably be the world that you see that we actually do. Or I say world, and that's what it's considered, I believe, but in reality it's actually like a galaxy or universe. Anyhow, or just a giant area of space. This is the Turdmobile, as we like to call it. It's just a pile of junk. It's a mobile base, basically. Anytime you're a not player 1, so if you're player 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 42, whatever, however many players are allowed on a server, you start in one of these. And it has everything you need. It's got a gravity generator, it's got a medical bay, it's got a refinery, a reactor, and an assembler all inside of it. And as you see, I'm melting away. Yes, your jets do actually do damage. You see I'm melting the ship away a little bit right there. It's got all the stuff that you really need to get started. And likewise, if you do something dumb like forget to mine and refine uranium, and you run out of fuel and eventually you're unable to survive, like, take a look here. If I pop out right now, see in the bottom left corner my energy is going down. When that reaches 0, you start to lose health and eventually you die. So that's your life support system, basically. You recharge that by being inside a cockpit, at a medical facility, or inside a, well, I guess inside a cockpit is inside of a ship, so there you have it. So this is what you start with, the giant turd. It flies slowly, it's very horrible, but it gets the job done and something cool. Alright, so Splootch decided to make this really poorly designed. It was a test vehicle to see how much we could actually move with a solar powered vehicle, and to be honest, it doesn't work that well. Apparently, in my personal opinion, we need to have the devs rework the solar powered stuff, because there's just not enough to do what you need to do with it, unfortunately. And you can move a little bit, but as you see, it's 380% power usage. That's not enough. You need better. You really do. So we're just gonna have this sit here. You can't even power engines with this. The thing you can do is power a beacon, though, so that's kind of cool. We can keep that there. We can actually go mark things with a beacon just by leaving the solar panel on. We do have a reactor on this thing, but we have no fuel, or it's turned off right now. So, continuing on with the tour, I'm going to hop in here, and I really would like to shoot that, but sadly we have no bullets. Yep, I used all those up before. This is a pretty decent ore composite place. There's a lot of different ore in here. I'm not going to go real deep in depth or anything, but as you see, there's like holes and you get inside and do different stuff. Unfortunately, the ship does not handle very well. It's quite bad, in fact. But eventually you're able to mine. You're able to do a lot of stuff with this game. It is a really well done game. The devs definitely take into account what the community wants, what they need. Any bugs that come up, they try to fix them in a timely manner, and I've had the game since February, and they have done a tremendous amount of work on it since then. So if you're looking for a game that has, oh my goodness, a game that has the devs or developers that actually do stuff and care about the game and the community, this is the game to get. And for some reason, even though this is parked, it is sparking like a madman. I'm not going to get near it because I think it's going to blow something up. Oh, I just hit it. That's awkward. I did damage. It's fine. Anyway, this save file doesn't matter, so technically I could crash right into this and really mess stuff up like it just kind of did there. But it doesn't matter because, again, my save file doesn't make any difference. It's all saved on Splooch's computer. So, this is the starting red ship that they give you. And it's okay. It's real big and slow, and the big ships are always, of course, slow, and it sucks to pilot them, in my opinion. Whoa. Okay, the ship is now a little bit weird. Alright, so you've seen the Solar Sailor. We'll take a look at the grinder ship. Now, this was originally a ship that we outfitted or modified that was originally their ship. The developers gave us a ship that had both a grinder and a welder. So basically, you could cut down or tear down anything you constructed with the grinding part, and then you could build with the mining part. So basically what the ship is, it has these 4 saws. When you turn them on, you go into another ship and you can start sawing away, and you collect all the parts and it goes into your storage container, which is right in there. Then eventually you fly over to your base and you can dump them out of these holes right here. So pretty good stuff. And the mining ship is kind of the inverse. You fill it up with materials to build, and you go around after placing blocks or whatever else you need to build. And then you use the mining part, or the welding part to actually build the ship. So how does this work, you wonder? Well, let's take a look. We'll get a front view. Hit the button, the saws come on. And we get a little bit closer, and there we go. And immediately we start disassembling everything. A little bit closer view here. As you see, it starts to break down. Just like when you build, it actually goes the other direction. And all the stuff that we're getting off of this right now is all going into the ship, and we're able to dump it into our base and use it in other projects later. So anytime we get those extra turd mobiles that are floating around, those yellow mobile base things, we generally go and saw those apart and take all their resources and use them in other things. So something Splootch has been doing that's been driving me crazy, I think originally, and I'll touch on this a little later, I think originally he made a mistake. But he's been building all of his stuff upside down and backwards, and it's driving me absolutely batty. What do I mean by that? Alright, so we have these 2 dumping ports, right? So let me fly over here. And you see where that yellow ship that says Miner 2 right there is? That is technically where we're supposed to dump at, right? Well, I can't dump there unless I flip the ship upside down. I don't know why he decided to start doing this. Like I said, I think he made a mistake. And once he did, to try to cover his tracks, he decided to do everything this way. And then he's like, yeah, no, this is better. This is cooler. I mean, that's his argument. It's really bad. Like here, the dumper's on top. You had to fly this thing in upside down in order for it to work. And I don't know. I can't abide it. It just really bothers me that he's done that. So I guess I'll show you this mining ship. So you have drills on the front. So let's take a look. So we have it well balanced with 4 engines in the back, 4 on the sides, 4 on the other sides, 4 to the front, and 4 on the bottom. So it's well balanced. It has that blue ore detector in the middle. The cockpit's right there, and then we have the 6 drills on the front, which are all fed through by a conveyor system which heads to the back, which has a cargo hold. And it also has some sort of reactor and our dumping port on top. So what do you do when you want to mine? You go and you find a place you want to mine, and you point at it. And before we do that, we should turn this off here. So we're going to go to the dumper, and we're going to turn throw out off. And there we go. And we're just going to kind of go in here, and once the drills start hitting, you see some smoke and some ore starts to fly off, and we're starting to gather all this ore. It is quite noisy, and generally when we play, the game sound's going to be down a little bit more. But being by myself and this being kind of a, you know, a showcase, I figured I'd showcase the sounds a little bit more than when I normally play. So we just did that. Now let's take a look. These were all empty before, right? So we're going to take a look in the inventory. And if we find our cargo, medium cargo containers there. I'm sorry, it moved all the way into the dumper. It's still on collect all. So out of all the drills, it moved into the cargo and then into the dumper, and now it's ready to be dumped. So we have 1,000 out of the 11.5k that we can normally have. And then what we would do at this point is fly back over there, upside down of course, and then we would dump. And then it would go through our entire base, which we all have set up on conveyor systems, which are those little tubes that you saw. And I'll show that off a little bit later. But basically all of our internal organs of our base are all connected. So if you dump something in here, it goes through the refining process, it's available for the assembler, and then you can actually use the assembler from up here. You don't have to go all the way down to it. It's actually inside the middle of the asteroid. So this is our base. We started building solar panels. As you see, we did not quite finish that endeavor. We found out it's going to take about 500 of these ginormous things to power our base completely. Well, that doesn't seem like a very viable or smart option, so we're probably not going to continue with that. We'll finish up the ones we have. Maybe it'll help lighten the load of uranium, but for now, it doesn't seem all that useful. We made some upstairs, downstairs area here. And once you're inside, you can turn off your jetpack and you can run around on the ground because there is artificial gravity. And you can access everything from here, the cargo container. So let's do that real quick. And we can do all the production here. We can see what's being refined, which I don't think anything is at this point. No, nothing's being refined. And then we can go into production, like I said, and we can craft, and boom, it's there. So let's take a look. It's right there. That's what we just crafted. We're able to pull this in. So this was actually all crafted from inside the middle of the asteroid, but we were able to pull it up out here. Alright, so that's kind of our base. We have the up and the downstairs. There's really no reason to have either one, but we figured we'd want to. So why is our base kind of cool though? All that the same? Alright, so we have our dumping port there to dump stuff into the base, and then we have the pooping port, as I like to call it, or I suppose we could also call it a dumper. The dumper down here, which we dump into ships. That's how we load up our crafting ships. And what does a crafting ship look like? Well, this is what our crafting ship looks like right now. We only have the one on this world. We have 2 on another world I'm going to show you guys. But basically this is a giant welder, much like the thing on that I have in my hand here, and you're able to do this. And if you keep going, you weld that on. So let's hop into this. Come over, get a little bit closer, and we'll turn the welder on, which I can't seem to see. So let's take an outside look. Get the welders on, get a little bit closer, and boom, it will weld much quicker than we can ever do it. So there, as you see, it's done. Alright, and then you can paint and color everything. So basically we load this up. Now this is why I think he did this on his own. This is why I think he made a mistake. So he built everything, and then he's got the dumper here to export stuff out, right? And normally that drops from above into the ship. So, or to export stuff out. This drops out below. So technically it's to fly ship in upside down to dump all the stuff out, right? Then on the bottom of the ship, he's got the port that catches everything. So this is how you fill the ship up. So basically he has to fly upside down under the port that drops everything to fill his ship up. So what I think he did was he designed his ship upside down. He made the mistake, and then he said, "Oh yeah, no, I like it this way. It's easier." It's not easier. It's stupid. So shame on you, Splootch, for trying to pull a fast one on me. I know what you've done. I figured it out, and shame on you. So I'm assuming he made this a mistake, and then he tried to cover it by doing everything backwards and upside down. It's just an extra step, an extra annoyance to have to turn around, go upside down, sideways, and backwards to do anything and everything. But either way. So let's go take a look at our internal base now. And we go into the wall sphincter! Yay! Alright, we're in the wall sphincter, and we're looking around, and our base should be within sight. There it is. Okay, so basically we decided to build a base inside the thing, in case they ever decide to add like raiding parties or some sort of attacking thing. We figured having the guts of our base, all the working parts that we need to produce and manufacture stuff, we should have inside, protected from the outside. So we did that. And we saw this little tiny hole that was up here. And it was a little tiny guide hole, and I had to be like a worm swimming upstream. I guess it'd be a salmon swimming upstream, or a worm crawling through a little baby hole, or making a hole of his own. So basically it was a little pilot hole, and then I had to kind of core it out a little bit wider to make sure this giant long tube fit through there. And as you see, we lined it up not exactly perfectly. I honestly think it should have been fine going straight up, but there was some issue. And it's fine. So we had to do one move, we had to do a double bend and then straight up, and it worked. So these are two ginormous cargo containers, and then we have our gravity generator and our cockpit there that we're able to get in, charge ourselves up, and do any of the powering up, powering downs that we need to do. Then going under to the underside of this, or down to the underside I suppose, we have our nuclear reactor also connected to our conveyor system. And we have our assemblers connected to the conveyor system, and our refinery as well. We have two of them, in fact. So we have two refineries and two assemblers with one ginormous, gigantic nuclear reactor. We have a beacon down here that shows us that this is our base of New Pandora. And that's pretty much the size of it. That's kind of how it goes. And we decided to do all this internally so there's no issues or problems coming about. So we'll go back onto the other side and we'll try to get out of here. And then all of our stuff is connected through these conveyor systems. These two are connected together side by side, and then up. And then once you go up, that leads to the base that you guys already saw, which is connected to everything else. So we never really have a reason to go back in there for anything. We can get everything from up here. And I'll show you where it connects underneath the base. And we built this little metal scaffolding, unfinished blocks, to make it look like it's holding the thing up. It looks pretty cool. I like it. And over here, this is that tube that goes all the way down into our base. And then that feeds up into our base and branches out into all directions to do what we need it to do. We have a gravity generator underneath, pulling gravity into our base. And several gravity generators along the way. We did have a car at one point, but apparently I smashed that up and saved over it, so sorry. And we're doing some other mining excavations inside of there, but we haven't quite gotten to that point yet. Is there anything else I need to show you on this world? I don't think so. I suppose I could show you the contraption that we were building, so let's kind of go over that. We were trying to build a catapult. These things are on a rotor, and if you put it at max torque, it kind of does fire pretty quickly. We're trying to throw warheads basically up at this thing, but we ran into a couple problems. And as good as that worked, it didn't work well enough, unfortunately. So what we ended up doing was we had to add this block as a station, and we had to add a reactor to it, and then we added this cockpit to it to control the arm. But once you put an arm on the end of a rotor, or anything on the end of a rotor, it's considered a separate entity. So we had to do another reactor and another cockpit to control this side. So on this side, what I did was I put one gravity generator here to hold down the stuff, and then I put two more facing the other way that gives basically backwards gravity. And essentially you drop a platform here with a rock that you mine out of anywhere, or any kind of ore, into the center of it, and then cover the top with the warheads. And then you turn this gravity generator off and these two on, and it launches it straight at this asteroid. And I've gotten it to explode once or twice, and the rest kind of flew off into space. They bounced, sadly. Warheads bounced, yes I know. And they floated off into space and nothing really came of it. This is our no gravity zone right here. This little red patch. So that is why it's painted red, and we had ramps where we could jump over it with our cars. The cars are not working at 100% just yet, guys. But again, the devs do seem to have a finger on the pulse of the community, and they keep trying very hard to fix and work around with anything they can to help out the community and add stuff that people want. And again, I'm not going to make this a ginormous tutorial type thing, just kind of showcasing this is a starting mining vessel that they gave us. I don't particularly like it. I don't think it handles very well, and, well, I really hated using it, but you know what? It gave us what we needed to be able to build everything that we built. So, kudos to them for giving us a decent start. So, I'll be right back with another world I'm going to load. Okay guys, welcome back. This was the first real world where we actually tried it. Now, I want to give you guys a little bit of advice or some hints as to what's going on. Now, you have creation and survival. Those are the two that you actually have. The creation mode and the survival mode. So, if you just want to mess around, build a bunch of ships, do whatever you want, do it quickly, and just, it's to have fun, basically. You go into creation mode, you can build ships really quick, you can access any of the stuff immediately, you don't need any resources, you can just build, and it works. But if you want to go through the process of actually having to build everything by hand, brick by brick, you can die, you have to be able to mine power and everything else. It's a lot more satisfying doing the survival mode, in my opinion. So you have to actually man up and do this all the way through. Unfortunately, I don't have the resources. But in creative mode or creation mode, you can just do whatever you want, just place anything anywhere. You can mirror a ship while you're building it, and basically you build it symmetrical, build it 2 or 3 times as fast. In addition to that, you can even copy and paste ships. So if you build 1 or 2 ships, you can paste them and have 2 or 3 extras. These were all built by hand, and this is a survival game. Now, there are 3 different levels of survival, or any combination of. I would suggest going the 10-10-10 build, because you have 3 things that you can change. They can all be realistic, so it's 1x, and that's weight capacity or carrying capacity, and that counts for cargo containers, your actual self. If we take a look here at me, I can contain up to 1.2k, and the cargo containers can contain more. So that's how much you can carry. So weight, and then there is how fast things are refined and how quickly you can actually manufacture stuff. So there's 1, 3x, and 10x. This game happens to be 3x, and it was kind of a struggle. There were times where it was pretty annoying, but overall I'd say it's okay. If you're kind of torn between 3 and 10, I'd say try 3 first, because if you go to 10, you're never going to go back to 3. That being said, I would highly recommend you just starting at 3 on survival, or at 10 on survival, because it makes the game so much easier, a lot more fun, and you can actually focus on doing stuff as opposed to building really, really slowly. I have not gone with realistic at 1x. I imagine it would be terrible. So let's go over the different things that we have here now. Alright, this was an Interceptor, and I did record this a couple times, guys. The first time, it didn't work. It wasn't happening. I screwed up because the game added a new feature in the last patch. I don't know if you noticed it. I don't know if you've noticed it on the very first part of the game when we started on the loading screen, but it added windowless borderless windowed. There we go. That's it. Borderless windowed mode. So basically, it uses less resources. And I did the full recording, and there was nothing there because I didn't reset my actual recording program, the settings for the game. So I just got a black screen. And then I did it a second time, and guess what? Everything was fine. I still got a black screen. Or no, I got a corrupted file. So this is my 3rd attempt at doing it, and more stuff is getting beaten up and destroyed as we go. So this was a ship that he built to try to do combat with. The first ship that he built to do combat with is this Interceptor. It handles really nice, the Interceptor in front of me, but it lacks quite a bit in firepower and structural integrity, as you can see. This one has a lot more ammunition and a lot more guns firing, but it's still not great, as you can see. It's really slow, it's very sluggish, not very responsive. It doesn't work super well. This one works much better. Well, at least it used to before I blew off all this stuff, but it does turn much quicker. Unfortunately, I have no more ammunition in this one either. But neither of them seem to work the way we wanted to. There are ships that randomly fly around, and if you go at them, a bad Juju Magumbo happens. What do I mean by bad Juju Magumbo? Oh, I can't even stop the ship now. That's not good. Let's see if I can actually get this thing to stop completely. Can we stop? Doesn't look like we can quite stop yet. Maybe... Yes. I managed to stop. Okay, so some of the engines definitely got destroyed in that. So, there is definitely air-to-air combat, or aircraft-to-aircraft combat, however you'd like to say it. So that was his big rack of guns at the end, figuring he could pinpoint, shoot down a rocket launcher or an automatic turret or something like that, maybe take out the engines. Then we built, what you saw before was our crafting vessel. We built Sparky over here as our first one. He added a third cargo container, but originally it was two, so it was about a third of the size of this, or one-third less the size of this. And we have the same basic principle. Everything's the same. You have the top there. The only downside is there was no dumper originally built on this. So this worked for us for quite a while. You could load this up, go in, do whatever we wanted. Then we decided that we wanted something bigger, something to help craft stuff like this mobile base that he was building. So at that point we went with this thing. This is what I like to call the school bus, but basically it's a Sparky 2. And it's got 6 cargo containers inside. It's got 2 welders. It's got some cool blue lights. It's well balanced with 4 engines on every side of it. Top, bottom, left and right. And front and back, of course. So, it's well balanced. It handles pretty good. It's got the reactor on top. It's got the port to fill it up. And it's got the port to dump. In case we overfill it with stuff we don't need, we can always dump it back out as opposed to having to do it by hand. So, it's pretty maneuverable, especially for just a designing ship. The only downside to this thing is it's massive. So, it is kind of difficult to get into tight spaces. But again, it is very maneuverable. So I'm going to try to zoom out a little bit. But as you can see, it's pretty large. But it works really well. These things usually take like almost a minute to weld by hand, and we've already welded it together. That block is actually done. So, the school bus is it's a success. It was a very good long endeavor to build it, but it worked out really nicely. And it was definitely very usable. The reason we gave up on this world wasn't because of the 3X thing. Basically, Splootch finished that like Star Destroyer back there, the Death Star, the mobile base, and then we finished this, which was going to be a miner like that little yellow one you saw earlier, only this was going to be quite a bit larger. This has 3 cargo containers in the back, it's got 3 dumping ports on the bottom, and we finished this all the way up, and it had like 9 or 12 or something drills on the front, and it came out to about here. So I mean, it was pretty massive. And it worked really, really well, but his power went out and it corrupted his save file, and my save file was basically here, which is essentially like almost a full day's worth of work, and we just didn't want to do it again. It was just one of those soul-crushing losses, you know? So we moved on. So you've seen a couple of our ships. Take a look at his other Ripper ship. This was his first design. It's really bad. I would not recommend this being a design of a ship. We need more engines than what we have here, and this just doesn't work. But he has it up here on the front. It's got the 3 saw blades in it. It works pretty good. It's kind of hard to maneuver sometimes, but it's not the end of the world. It is definitely usable and decent. Then we have this door, which is pretty cool. This is one of the things I had him build or try to build, and he came up with the design, and it works pretty well. I said I wanted like a blast door that we could close. So he went and he thought about it, and then this is what he came up with. So our door is closed right now, right? So we're going to go all the way down to the bottom. And we're going to reverse it and hop out and take a look. And now the door is actually opening. So normally there was enough space in there for us to fly in and do whatever we wanted to do, but we decided to add some other cargo containers and other stuff in there, along with this turret to kind of make it, you know, I'm not sure why he did that, to be honest. It wasn't big enough anyway, but now it's real cluttered, and I suppose if anything flew by and we weren't here, that would defend it, but we don't have this open to the public, so it doesn't really make any sense. And we did basically, this is the first time we did it, but we did the same exact principle of where we drilled a giant hole through the middle of the world, or the asteroid. This one we didn't have a pilot hole, and it took us quite a while to figure out how to do this. But we drilled all the way through to the top. We had to do a couple design changes in the middle of it here, as you can see. And here is the base of original Pandora. So let's take a look. And this is actually all open. It's pretty cool. This is open at the beginning, and he drilled through over there. There's a couple doors that lead out, so this is basically sealed off from the outside. There's obviously some small gaps and whatnot, but nobody can get in unless they go through the doors. And all of our stuff is in here. We have a dumping port for us to walk over and drop stuff into. We have a cockpit, of course, and we have our reactor, along with a couple of assemblers, I think 3. 2 or 3 assemblers are attached there, and then we have 2 refineries over here, and our giant cargo container. All of it, of course, is run through our conveyor system. So that's pretty much just about everything, except for the original ship that we built. So let me go over there and show you what that was, and that's how we actually made our first drill through there on this planet. We were trying to drill in from outside and just kind of guess where we needed to drill. It wasn't going well. We weren't meeting up with one another. It was a good try, but it wasn't working. So we designed a drilling ship, or a mining ship. Basically, this was to tunnel out, and I think it started off as only 1 drill, and then we re-outfitted it with 2 drills. We added this little thing on the side to actually dump it later. The drills actually have storage space. We added the light on the front, and right here we added this to connect the 2 drills together, so we only need 1 dumping port. This is a terrible design. I don't ever recommend doing this design with your engines. It's really bad, and shame on me for ever doing it, but we were in a pinch, and that's what I came up with. We have our ore detector there, our beacon to keep track of it. It's the SS Minnow, and we have a couple of gyroscopes, and of course our reactor. So this was our tunneling ship. This is a nice ship to drill a relatively straight hole all the way through a planet, and it works quite well. So let's do this. I'll turn the throw off out on the ejector, and I'll just kind of tunnel right here a little bit. I'm not going to go super deep in, but it's a lot less stable than the other ships that we've built, and it doesn't drill quite as effectively, but it worked. It did what we needed it to do, and we've kept it around in our fleet, so to speak, all this time simply because of that. We should have retrofitted it better, but that's basically what we did. Everything that we've added to this was just a retrofit after the fact. It wasn't in the original design plans. So all that the same, it's still something. This is the one I would use to actually help mine, despite the obvious shortcomings of this portable vessel. But I think that's pretty much going to do it, guys. So I'll show you the dumping, and that's going to be it. I don't think we have any other really cool vehicles or floating things out here right now. But I just kind of wanted to get you guys a little interested, a little bit excited about Space Engineers. It's a really, really good game, a really, really good developing team, and I like it a whole lot, and a lot of people do seem interested to see some other LPers play it, so I figured, well, why not? I'll toss it in there and show you guys what I have accomplished thus far. And I gotta say, most of the work has been done by Splootch. I've done some stuff myself. I usually fix a lot of his wrongs, or help design, or finish the things that he's working on. So that's going to do it for this first time showcase. Feel free to leave comments in the section below, of course. Not above, not to the sides, but below. I know this is a little bit more just kind of straightforward, less joking and having fun. I still enjoyed it, but I'm tired after 3 or 4 times of attempting to record this, and it's really late, and my wife's going to kill me if I don't shut up soon. So I just kind of try to get straight to it and get going and get through it. So hopefully it was okay. It was entertaining. You guys look forward to seeing some more. I will do this semi-occasional updates. I'm going to, when we do random things that we might not know if it's going to work or not, and we're going to try it, maybe I'll record that and then do a collage episode where there's like 3 or 4 different snippets put together. And then later down the road I plan to do an LP. Let me know what you guys think, whether you want to see a full LP, how you want me to do it. Do you want it to be a more regular series once I do start? I mean, let me know what's on your mind. Let me know what you think of the game, and if you guys are interested in the least bit and you liked what you saw, 100% it is worth the money to go and pick this up immediately. So definitely go do it, guys. Space Engineers by Keen Software House is a great game, and yes, I always have to check because it is an odd name. I do apologize. I'm pretty sure that's what it was, but I always like to look just to make sure. And with that, I'm going to end it, guys. So I'll see you the next time I do one of these, and hopefully we have some more cool, new, exciting ships and things to show off. Until then, my name is Bumpy McSquigums, and I will see you later.